I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence. I'd like to ask our community to just pray for our community, to make it better, to make it more gentle. We have a lot of hopes and dreams that we have for our community, and we wanted to make it a reality. So please keep that in mind when you pray to your spiritual leaders. Thank you.
Before we go to the approval of the agenda, I need to say something. I have been given a piece of document that I need to read, and I need to give this to all of our counselors. This letter is from Mayor Tonita Gurile Hiron, dated January 8th, 2020, and it's addressed to our governing body. It says, "Dear councilors, after much deliberation, I have decided to resign from my position as mayor of the city of Las Vegas, effective as of 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday, January 8th, 2020. I have been charged with offenses in a criminal complaint. While I have pled not guilty to those charges, I believe it is in the best interest of the citizens of Las Vegas and, most importantly, my family, for me to resign from my position. Those who know me personally know that I am a fighter. However, I believe the citizens of Las Vegas deserve to have city government operate within the without the distractions that undoubtedly will ensue if I remain in office for the last 2 months of my term. I especially want to spare my family and children the pain in the inevitable media frenzy that would accompany my continued service in my position. It has been my privilege to serve as mayor. I thank the citizens of Las Vegas for granting me the honor of serving them. Sincerely, Tonita Gurile Hiron, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Mr. Pro Tem, I move approval of the agenda as presented.
A second.
Roll call?
Councilor Romero?
Yes.
Councilor Howell?
Yes.
Councilor Casey?
Yes.
Councilor Ulliver Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Casey and a second by Councilor Ulliver Jr. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Howell. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
Madam Manager, what's the next?
The next item is public input. We had one person sign and one person who wanted to sign, but they were after the deadline of 5:15, and therefore we have no public input.
Okay. And the person that wanted to sign? That signed?
Was Mr. Gabe Estrada, and the
Okay.
person who requested to sign was also Mr. Emilio Aragon.
And Mr. Estrada's not here?
Yes, he is here, but
does?
he missed the deadline.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
The next item on the agenda is the discussion items. The first discussion item is Resolution 20-01, Open Meetings Resolution, and we have Ms. Danelle Sena, Deputy Clerk, presenting.
Ms. Sena.
Mayor Pro Tem Howell, councilors, I'm here to seek approval of Resolution 20-01, the Open Meetings Resolution. This establishes reasonable notice of council meetings in compliance with the Open Meetings Act, and it is required annually for the approval. I stand for any questions.
Any questions, councilors? Councilor Casey?
Just on the timeline, because I don't remember, did we do this in January of last year also, or was it done in prior years when there was an election in March? Did we do it in March?
No.
For the new elected officials, or no?
Last year, we did do it in January as well. It was approved for the regular session.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Romero? Nothing?
Questions?
What's the pleasure of the council?
Consent.
Consent?
Thank you,
So be
Mayor
it.
Pro Tem, councilors.
Next item?
Next item is approval of resolution number 20-02, repealing and replacing all previous resolutions and adopting an updated Meadow City Express zero-tolerance drug and alcohol testing policy. And we have Ms. Arguello and Mr. Adrian Jaramillo for presentation. Good evening.
Welcome, Ms. Arguello.
Good evening, Mayor and Councilors.
Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
Tonight we're here, Adrian and myself are here to present the updated Meadow City Express zero tolerance drug and alcohol policy. So this policy is not a new policy, it's just a federal transit administration policy that's required for the Meadow City Express. So it is a policy that is separate from our city policy.
Okay.
And it's just an update. We had an FTA audit this year, and this was one of the findings, just they needed an update on the template.
It was actually a format change, am I correct, Ms. Arguello?
Yes,
It was
just a format change. Everybody in the state of New Mexico that does federal transit has a different template, so they wanted us to just jump on board with the same thing. So that's all this really is.
Okay,
And with the updates, because there's always updates to it every year.
I see. Questions?
Not a question, but a comment. I just wanted to thank Mrs. Arguello for the work that she and Adrian have done. Adrian, thank you. In updating all of our policies for our transportation services to the community. I think you've done an excellent job of bringing everything up to date and making sure that everything is working and that we have the policies to support everything that we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councilor Littlebury?
No comments.
No?
No comments. Okay.
No. Romero? I have one question. Can you give me an example of zero tolerance? Because sometimes other people have different opinions about zero tolerance.
Zero tolerance is no second chance. So if you're positive for any drug or alcohol, you're out.
Okay, now
So
that
that's zero tolerance.
and that is to the drivers and also the customers?
No,
In
no,
this
not the
case,
customers,
this would be
it's
just
the employees.
Just the employees
Yeah,
driving?
this is a policy for our employees.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? If not, what's the pleasure?
Consent.
Consensus?
Thank you, Ms. Arguello. Mr.
Thank you very much, appreciate it. Thank you, Adrian.
The next item on the agenda, Mayor Pro Tem, councilors, is out-of-state travel to Westminster, Colorado, and we have Mr. David Teagle for presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chief Bill.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and honorable councilors, I seek approval of travel for one of our officers to Westminster, Colorado, to gain certification as a defensive tactics instructor. As you're all aware, we had some officers move to other agencies, which has created a need for a new defensive tactics instructor.
And when is this going to happen?
In April, sir.
In April. Okay.
April 5 through 10.
Any questions?
No questions.
Councilor Casey?
No questions.
Councilor Romero?
Yes, I do have one. Who is the officer that will be going?
Officer Antonio Salazar.
And this is paid for by,
Out of our budget.
okay. And that was budgeted for this year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, what's the pleasure of the council?
Consent.
Consent.
Consent? It's consent, thank you, Chief Booth. Ruth?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. The next item on the agenda is Las Vegas City Police Department requesting approval to accept funding in the amount of $22,420, and we have Chief Bibb.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and honorable councilors, we are seeking approval to accept funding in the amount of $22,420 from the New Mexico Traffic Safety Bureau. And this would fund efforts such as Operation Buckle Up, the Operation DWI checkpoints, and such.
Questions? Councilors?
Too bad we can't move the comma over one and get $224,000.
That would be nice.
Yeah, I think that's
But we'll take
wonderful.
what we can get.
That's true, yeah, that's great.
Councilor Univer?
No comments.
Councilor Romero? Now, I have one.
Yes,
This
sir.
doesn't include any equipment such as, those things we had on the sidewalk.
Right, no, sir, this is strictly to fund the overtime projects.
Okay. Good. Did you know what happened last time with our equipment that was
Yes.
on the sidewalk? Okay. Thank you. So what's the pleasure of the council?
Consent.
Consent? Consent?
Consent.
Madam Manager? It's consent.
Thank you, councilors, Mayor Pro Tem. I have no further items. The next item would be the executive session. And we do have a need for executive session for potential litigation, I believe.
Okay. I'd like to make that comment, if I may. I would like to go into executive session listing personnel matters as permitted by section 10-15-1, H2 of the New Mexico H7. Thank you. This, the copies of these are very light, so I'm
I
having trouble.
apologize. We'll
Oh, wait a minute, I
we'll do
have
better.
light.
We'll do better.
Okay, in New Mexico Opens Meeting Act, NMSA 1978, and also matters subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the city of Las Vegas is or may become a participant, as permitted by the section 10-15-1H7 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, NMSA 1978.
Second.
Second.
Counselor Romero?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
I had one question. So we're going for personnel matters?
Yes.
Was my understanding we're also going to discuss water?
Well, he did that under, he did this.
The pending litigation.
Okay.
Do I have to state the specific?
If it's personnel?
Well, with regard to the water litigation, I think you made it clear.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Roll call?
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Howell?
Yes.
Counselor Yulubri Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Howell and a second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Howell. Motion carries.
Thank you. We will go into executive session and come back, and hopefully we'll see everyone. Thank you.
Before you guys go into executive session,